Welcome to Fire Talk, where we give you the latest news updates on Southeastern University athletics. I'm Kent Ingle, president of Southeastern University, and joining me as always is our award-winning athletics director, Drew Watson. It's been, a couple weeks?
It has. Thanksgiving. We took a break for Thanksgiving, and then you and I were traveling. And
yeah, did you go out of town for Thanksgiving?
No, stayed in town. Kim's parents came into town, and my mom's in town, and my stepdad. So it was a busy time at home for sure.
Oh, that's great. It's always great to have family and enjoy it and eat a lot. I'm sure you ate a lot.
I ate a ton. You know, it's funny when Wednesday hits, the food starts rolling out. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, no, I'm budgeting for tomorrow. So don't fat me up today. Let me eat on Thanksgiving.
Exactly. No, it's great, and pretty soon we're going to be at Christmas time. So
yes.
Yeah, it's a great time of year.
It is.
We're going to highlight some of the end of the fall season, and we're closing that out with some of our teams. And naturally, it means time for winter sports to start, and that means men's and women's basketball, wrestling, as well as the continuation of cheer from football to basketball. As we start thinking about those sports, we wanted to talk to one of our amazing winter coaches. So joining us today is Travis Patrick, our wrestling coach. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Always glad to have you with us. So you're a brand new dad, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if everybody knows this.
Yeah.
But you were at the wrestling tournament, the National Wrestling Duels, or National Championship in Wichita, Kansas. And Tyler's due that weekend.
Yeah.
So you left NAIA Nationals to try and get back for the birth of your daughter. Tell us about that whole experience.
Yeah, it was something. I left a day later than the rest of the team just because we had a baby appointment and we wanted to check with our doctor and say, okay, what do you think? Our due date was like the day after the national tournament, and she's like, yeah. No, I think you're good. You'll make it back. We'll talk about inducing or whatever next week. And she's like, I feel good about you going. Okay, great. So got on the plane, got there, wrestled on Friday. Got through the blood rounds and had all of our All-Americans set, and went back and we're just having dinner with the coaching staff. She calls me. It's 11 o'clock in Wichita, midnight out here, and she goes, hey, my water just broke.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So there's no more flights out that day. So found a 5 a.m. flight out of Wichita and got about zero sleep between then and when my flight left, and got here and got to the hospital to a healthy baby girl, and then got to watch national finals from the hospital room. So it was something. I had a couple of the other coaches from around the NAIA text me going, hey, where are you? So, but we had we were in good hands with my assistants and did well.
How old is she now?
She is going to be 9 months on Monday.
Wow.
So she's finding her lungs and making a lot of noise and crawling and pulling up and pretty close to walking. But
sleeping through the night yet?
Yeah, she honestly has from a pretty early age. She slept through the night a little bit. When she hits growth spurts, which she's kind of on one now, she'll kind of hit a wake up at about 1 a.m. or so, and then go back down until 6:30 or something like that. Yeah. So
I'm really shocked you didn't mention my coaching debut.
I said we were in good hands, so I kind of that you were there and part of it, but
because there's a picture picture from Nationals of me sitting on the bench looking very serious.
Yeah.
I was probably just thinking about what do I say? Like I don't know what to say.
Did you use the phrase? I hear you need a pillow. You need a pillow.
Oh yeah,
or
that comes from a certain. Get him a pillow.
Yeah.
I typically with wrestling you just say circle.
Yeah.
You
just gotta go do the move.
Now Jordan did she have her coaching debut?
She did. Red vs. Black. I have a picture of that. So I just for one match, just brought her out there at Red vs. Black and had her there. So.
How'd she do?
I mean, we were wrestling ourselves, so I guess she won.
Okay, she won.
That's great.
So she's 1-0 then.
That's good.
Excellent.
Good. Yeah.
Hey, you're a wrestler yourself at Southern Oregon University. Take us through your journey from being an athlete to now a coach. When did you know you wanted to coach, and what was your motivation behind all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I always knew that I wanted to coach, and just kind of in what format. Kind of God revealed that as I got into. Kind of started dipping my toe in the water with that, and had a lot of great mentors, I think, that guided me along the way. So we grew up in Washington State and wrestled there, and then wrestled collegiate at Southern Oregon University, and then had an opportunity to step kind of right into the coaching ranks at Menlo College down in the Bay Area of California right after that. So did actually a little bit of kind of split time when I first started between strength and conditioning coaching and assistant wrestling, but was able to move into the associate head role after just my first year, and had a great mentor in Joey Martinez there, and they have a great program at Menlo. This will be their actually last year in the NAIA before they go D2. But he put a lot of responsibility on me early on, and it kind of gave me a chance to see if this is really what I want to do, right? A lot of people enjoy the wrestling coaching aspect of it, which is, the most fun part, but I got a chance to kind of see, behind the scenes and some of the administrative part and planning travel and budgeting and recruiting and all those things, and fell in love with that aspect of it too, and just kind of building the holistic program. So I was able to be there for about 5 years before, got my first head coaching position down at Arizona Christian. So I was there for a couple years, and then, been blessed to be out here going in year 3 right now.
Where in Washington did you?
Yeah, I'm from a small town of Castle Rock, Washington, which is about an hour north of Portland, Oregon, 2 hours south of Seattle. So the bigger towns next to her, Kelso and Longview.
Right. Yep.
So that's where I did most of my club wrestling was at Kelso High School, and they have a phenomenal coach there as well.
Excellent. Fellow West Coaster. I love that.
You're a Mariners fan, right?
Yeah, through the good and the bad and a lot of the ugly. So, it seems like we'll always go through, we're about 500, and then, hey, man, I think we might make the playoffs, and then it's like, well, maybe not. Never mind.
Well, your dog's name's Seager,
so,
correct?
Yeah. So, but because my wife's a Dodgers fan. So at the time when we got him, Corey Seager was on the Dodgers, Kyle Seager was on the Mariners. So went with Seager, and then we got another one that's Griffey. So
classic.
Yeah. Got the
kid.
So, yeah.
That's excellent.
Well, as you said, you're heading into your 3rd year.
Yeah.
And with coaching come a lot of highs and lows. What's been your favorite memory so far of your time at Southeastern?
Man, that's there's been a lot. There's been a lot, I think, special moments in the last couple of years, and I think last year we had a really special senior class. A lot of those guys graduated and doing some things, whether that's in wrestling or whatever. But man, most special moment. I think the first time, just first year here when we were able to get that 3rd place trophy and going up there as a team and being able to accomplish something with that group that had never been done before was pretty special. But, I think just seeing these guys grow every year, Sal Silver won the national title last year, even though I wasn't able to be there. I think that in a way was a special moment. I got to sit there in the hospital room with my new daughter and watch those moments. So I don't know. There's really too many to name. Coleman Bryant coming back from the neck injury and coming to take second to finish his career. So I think on the mat, there's so many that are special, and then off the at developing these relationships and getting to go to some of these guys' weddings. And
I think with a lot of coaches, not necessarily here. Just if they were sitting here and I asked that same question, you'd immediately go to the national championships, the individuals. But you didn't even mention that first. You mentioned relationships. You mentioned the team placing 3rd. And so I've always appreciated your holistic, approach to your program. It's and even as we talked as you came in, just job one was making sure the right guys were in the room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's quite often the hardest part of it all. And so, just kudos to you. You've done such a good job of creating a culture in that room that we all can be proud of. And so I really appreciate that.
And you're an amazing coach, and you've done exceptionally well with our program here, leading our guys to the highest ranking in our history, number 3 in the nation. Talk to us about what it takes to develop a winning culture.
Yeah, I think we always talk about that culture's dynamic. It's not static. So as soon as you stop trying to create that culture and build that culture, it's going to start going backwards. Mm-hmm. So we just continue to preach the same things and kind of add new things, and then we have to go back and circle back over those things. So we got new guys coming in all the time. You can't just rely on the seniors and juniors and returners to disseminate that info and that standard down to the young guys. So I think that's one of the things that we developed, and I felt like we had a really good culture last year, and we graduated a lot of guys. So now it's kind of we're going back to some of the basics with a little bit younger group this year. So we got 3 core values in gratitude, effort, and ownership that we preach with our guys. And then lately, kind of we've been talking a lot through discipline. I think with this group, a younger group that's pretty talented, but needs some experience, we've been kind of hammering home the idea of doing the small things really, really well, and how that'll make a huge difference in our program.
Oh, that's great.
Now, you coached a record 11 national qualifiers last year, 6 All-Americans.
Actually, 12.
12 All-Americans.
12
or 12
12
qualifiers.
national
Okay.
qualifiers, yeah.
12 qualifiers, yeah.
Talk to the writers on that.
Yeah.
But as you just referenced, this year's squad is a lot younger and less experienced. You mentioned how you approach culture in that regard, but how does your coaching approach change as the experience in the room changes?
Yeah, and it is, I guess, a little bit unique in that we have a few guys that are almost like the COVID super seniors. We probably have, I think, 3 or 4 of those guys that are like, they've been around for a long time. So we're almost kind of managing their reps a little bit and approach them different. And then the rest of our squad is really young. So we kind of feel like have 2 different ends of the spectrum with that. So we're getting those guys as many matches as possible, and on the coaching end, we're maybe managing reps for some of our older guys like Bond and Silva and Bazilme, making sure they're staying healthy for the stretch run. But then our younger guys, we got some guys that are in the lineup that are having some success now, and we're throwing them in everything, getting them to kind of learn a little bit. I mean, maybe you call it trial by fire, but it's just kind of working the kinks out and having them learn how to be coachable. Going back to the drawing board on Monday at practice and working through some of the things and putting them out there and then just continuing to hammer home the basics. I think we got a lot of talented guys. I think sometimes the difference, the guys that have success at the college level are the ones that are going to be disciplined in their positioning and their consistency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're just starting out, right? You're just starting out the new season. You're 1-1 in the duels right now.
Yeah, I took. We battled a tough St. Thomas team that we won down there, and then lost a close one to Reinhardt. Had a few guys out of our lineup, but they're a tough squad, and we kind of had a few matches that could have gone either way that just both bounced their way and ended up on the wrong side of that score. But I do think we're a better tournament team than we are a dual team. When you look at some of the weights that we got, 2 returning national champs are at the same weight. You can't put them both in a duel. We got multiple guys ranked at 125, multiple guys ranked at 149, 157. So some of those weights that it inflates our ranking as far as the nation goes, but when it comes to duels, we have some younger guys in the lineup that need to mature a little bit.
What have you learned so far with this team? What are a couple of highlights as you've just started out?
Yeah, I mean, we've got, like I said, some young guys that are really stepping up. Gentry Smith at 197. He's a guy that I'm really excited about. He works incredibly hard, takes care of business in the classroom, and he's from Idaho, so coming all the way across the country, and so we're going to Montana this week, so he'll get to go back a little closer to home and wrestle in front of some of his family. So, but he's been wrestling well. I think some of these young guys, they're hungry to compete and to do well. They got to understand what it takes to step into the lineup and have that fire logo across their chest. So some of it is, I think, just learning. You had the Stephen Kelly's and the Douglas Peppers and the Gage Brauns and all those guys that graduated last year. So some of these young guys, they're stepping in the lineup thinking, okay, it's my turn. But it's like, well, what does that mean? Like, now you're having to put your hands on some guys, and it's not just going to happen because of the singlet you're wearing. The work has to be put in behind it.
Well, that happens in a lot of sports where a freshman comes in, sophomore, there's somebody in front of them, and they're like, well, when they graduate, I'm in. And they don't realize the coach is recruiting to get the best players in the room at all times, and you've got to work. You've got to work to earn that spot. And I don't think student athletes always realize that.
Yeah.
The best do, but
right.
Now you mentioned Montana. You leave tomorrow.
Yeah,
for Montana. Yeah. Tough competition out there.
Yeah.
What are some of the matchups look like?
Yeah, they're going to be 2 really, really tough duels. They're both really scrappy teams from Montana, and I obviously have a lot of history with them and know their coaches well from coaching on the West Coast, and both good guys that run strong programs. So we'll wrestle Montana State Northern first. I think they're ranked maybe 12th or 13th or something like that at 4:30 Pacific time, and then we'll wrestle Providence right after that. So Montana State Northern has a kid returning All-American, returning national finalist at 149 that will wrestle with Chris Kelly. He's ranked 23rd for us, so we'll get a good matchup there with him. And then Northern also has guys at 165 that are ranked, I think, 8th. Their guys at 174 is second. 84 is a top 10 guy, and then 197 is a top 10 guy. So those are some we're younger in those weights, and so they're going to have to step up and wrestle. So kind of where we are a little bit more experienced, they're younger, and then where they're more experienced, we're younger. So that'll be an interesting duel in that way.
Great experience.
Providence will be some tough kids. Once again, they got some high-ranked kids at 149, 157, 165, and then kind of right through there too, 74, 84. They have returning All-Americans at those weights. And then heavyweight will be a fun one that we're ranked 2, they're ranked 3. We actually wrestled them in the third, fourth place match last year and beat them. But that'll be a good one to kind of end the duels. So should be exciting. And then we'll turn around and most of the guys will wrestle in the open tournament the next day.
Have you checked the weather?
Yeah, I did. It's supposed to be clear. It's supposed to be cloudy, about 35 degrees, but it doesn't show snow right now. So we're praying that holds off. Otherwise, we might be spending a few more days in Great Falls.
It sounds like it's actually kind of warm because it usually gets down to 0 or below.
Yeah.
So that's great. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by Fire Talk today, and just grateful for you. You're an amazing coach, but more importantly, you're an amazing leader, and we're just grateful to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. Yep.
That's good. The Spine Institute of Central Florida specializes in the entire spectrum of spine-related issues, same-day appointments, second opinions, located right here in Lakeland and Davenport. The official spine care provider of SU Fire Athletics. Second best is never an option when it comes to your spine health. Spine Institute of Central California.
Well, I've had some friends who have had experience with the Spine Institute.
Oh, wow.
And had like really bad issues going in, and just were really happy with the care they received there. So glad to have them their sponsorship and their partnership on board.
Yeah. Hey, let's cap up some of the fall sports and talk about women's soccer. Women's soccer had a tough ending to their season.
They did. You know, we earned the host bid, and we hosted Bethel out of Tennessee. Got down in this game 2-0, and fought back, tied the game. Then in soccer they played 2 10-minute overtimes, and it's no longer sudden death. It's not golden goal. So they scored in the first overtime to take a 3-2 lead. We again fought back, scored with 6 minutes left in the second overtime to tie it. But then, unfortunately, we fell in PKs, and so we have a couple goals, a couple clips from that game.
Oh, great.
We have the first goal by Madeline Davis off a free kick, and you'll see this is a great service into the box. And Madeline just kind of tracks the ball and puts a head on it and right past the goalie.
Oh, look at that.
Just really impressive the read there. And this is a tying goal that I just referenced in the second overtime. This is Katie Carnes. And this is just this is persistence, right? So we got a 6. She decides, unfortunately for her, to go across, and boom, we tie it. So a little bit of sloppy play there from Bethel. But unfortunately, the Fire fell. Now, yesterday was Bethel played their round of 16 match against Spring Arbor, and who's a national powerhouse, and fell in overtime. So they're a good team, but
Yeah. Well, the ladies finished well. They had a great season. I mean, it is a tough way to go out, but the team did Fire Athletics proud.
Yeah, 11-5-3. Winning some big games, securing the host, NAIA opening round. So I know Coach and the ladies were disappointed, but, just get back at it, and we'll go for it next year again.
Yeah. Let's turn our attention to winter sports, and let's talk about men's basketball. They had a road trip last weekend to Kingsport, Tennessee, where they played in the show. They dropped both games on the weekend, facing number 5 Georgetown University on Saturday, and then losing 73 to 59. Was that
73-59.
Yeah, in that game, and then on Sunday lost to RV Pikeville, 71 to 52.
Yeah, so the show's become a popular NAIA event. They basically have it in a hotel, ballroom, and it's an intimate event. A lot of top teams travel the event throughout, from all around the country. Competition's always stiff, but the early season. So we're around 500. I think we're 4-5, and and you look at the schedule. And Coach Lee has done a good job putting together a really tough schedule early on. They've got some pieces back in the lineup now that I think are going to help. But I think they've got a younger team, a team that is just kind of being put together, not a lot of returners. Yeah. And so they're kind of feeling each other out, and Coach is figuring out what combinations need to be on the floor. But good schedule usually helps in the long run just for seasoning.
What's next for the men?
Some time off here.
Okay.
So they're going to focus on finals, try and fine tune some things. But then December 11th, Trinity comes to the Furnace, and so we have some time to work on some things and really get focused for that second semester.
Yeah, no, that'll be great. I had a chance to catch them play New College, which is going to be a new member of the conference, right?
Yep.
And they soundly defeated New College.
Yes,
So-
and I think they played them in back-to-back games. The first game against New College was tighter.
Yep.
And they had some similar results against some of our opponents early on in the season, but the second one was not close. So that was good to see the adjustments made by the guys.
Yeah. Good deal. Let's talk about women's basketball. Fire coming off 2 wins as they beat the University of Puerto Rico 78-42, and then topped University of Fort Lauderdale 81-43. What did we learn about the ladies this week and some of the highlights?
Well, we learned that they take care of business against inferior teams. I mean, both of these teams, Fort Lauderdale's having some roster issues. They brought six student athletes into the gym here, and to see a team do to the opponent what they're supposed to is encouraging. But the highlights, Becky Kalidiev had 23 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Cassidy Jones from Lakeland, 14 points. Anya Knoflock had 10 points. These games, as I said, were not challenging, but as we're building chemistry early in the season. Same deal with the men. Yep. You've got a lot of new faces on that roster, so it's good to just get minutes
chemistry and all of that. It's great to see Becky back on the court and playing so well as Cassidy back here playing in her hometown. What's next for them?
So tomorrow we face the #1 team in the country, Campbellsville.
That's right,
And we go up there for that. The Tigers are currently 6-0, averaging over 100 points a game. I mean, when was the last women's basketball team that you ran into that averaged over 100 points a game? That's
pretty
really good test.
Pretty amazing. And then they travel to Cincinnati right after that?
Yeah, they had to face University of Cincinnati Claremont on Saturday, and Claremont is currently 3-2. So it'll be a good trip for the team.
Well, good to see the team hitting the road and playing some tough games. Again, that'll prepare them for conference. And,
for sure.
And hopefully they're going to do well this year. Well, that's a wrap for who's playing right now in winter sports, and I'm sure that'll start expanding in the weeks to come. No home games this week, but make sure you check the website, sufire.com, for live stream links, game updates, and recaps. Make sure you keep a close eye on that women's basketball game tomorrow night with the #1 team in the nation. It's going to be a big one. We'll see how they do. But always grateful to have everybody join us on Fire Talk.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Go Fire.
Yeah, go Fire. Take care, everybody.